Hello everyone and welcome to my Y&R Insider 24 update channel. Sharon and Nick's unsettling news, Claire's escape disruption. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Wednesday, October 15th reveal that Sharon and Nick Newman receive a shocking medical update on their son Noah Newman while Claire Newman is hampered. In an effort to forget about her GC life, Claire is in Los Angeles with Holden Novak. This includes Kyle Abbott and Audra Charles, who have gotten far too close to her for her comfort. Kyle intends to surprise Claire during her getaway, and his son Harrison Abbott has a bad dream, both of which could point to unfavorable events. Claire is unable to escape Kyle. Victoria Newman, Claire's mother, can, thanks to the assistance of Nate Hastings, express her thoughts and feelings. Claire and Victoria have only been together for a short time, which may explain why she is so concerned about her adult daughter. This episode features Nate patiently listens as Victoria vents to him about Claire, Kyle, and Holden. Can Holden remain objective given his own relationship with Holden? LA is where everyone meets. Victoria decides to follow Kyle's lead and travel to Los Angeles to check on Claire, despite Victoria's reservations. In a coincidental coincidence, another Newman family member is also in LA. After Sharon informs him that their son was injured in an accident and was in the hospital, Nick is able to board his private jet and get away quickly. What comes next in Wisconsin's Genoa City? Nick and Sharon are going through the worst nightmare of a parent, and they are thousands of miles away from home, which makes matters even more difficult. An update on Noah is given to Sharon and Nick, but it may lead to more questions than answers. After the crash, he is not in good shape, and Schick are speechless. Noah's return initiates a brand new, extensive Y&R mystery involving numerous characters and locations. We hope it is better than the lengthy return of the Citizen Kane story, as do millions of frustrated fans. In Los Angeles, things are not as they seem, and Nick is determined to find out what's going on as the week progresses. Claire's harsh reality check makes Kyle's obsession pay off hard. According to the Young and the Restless spoilers, Kyle Abbott continues to disregard counsel from both those who care about him and those who don't. Kyle can't see that he's pushing too hard against Claire Newman, but even Audra Charles can see it. Two questions were raised when he traveled to Los Angeles, California, to present Claire with flowers that he had picked at Chancellor Park. In one of Y&R's most stunning settings, did Kyle purchase those flowers from a licensed vendor? Alternately, was he intoxicated by the thought of liberating Claire's favorite flowers from the Catherine Chancellor Park, which is named after GC's grande dame? The expert guidance of Diane Jenkins Abbott and Jack Abbott Kyle lives with his parents. But he isn't doing that because he can't afford it or because he doesn't want his own place. It is an accomplishment for him to be close with both of his parents, including a mother whose death was feared for the majority of his childhood. Devoted viewers will recall that Kyle split from his father when he was young and lived under Victor Newman's tutelage. However, aside from the scenes from the past, Kyle values what his parents have to say. He is not opposed to their recommendations. He can't accept that Jack Abbott and Diane Jenkins Abbott told him not to follow Claire to the West Coast because he is bound by a false belief that she requires his protection. However, he did, which was yet another error. Holden Novak offers a romantic opposition. Surprised was Claire's rash move to California, where she and Holden Novak are having fun. She quickly changed her mind and now sees him as someone who could take Kyle's place. That's the focus of Holden's LA sightseeing tour. He is the current anti-Kyle. However, Novak's character conceals secrets, just as Claire did. Claire might not be interested in Holden's past, including what happened to Audra. She is likely to hold him to the same standards as Kyle. Because of her relationship with Jordan Howard, Claire lacks trust. He might be able to replace Kyle if Holden is honest with her. Claire Newman requires some room. Kyle had an emotional impact on Claire. She could not go anywhere in GC without expecting him to find her. Despite her repeatedly expressing her desires, he refused to alter his course of action. As a result, she fled in agony. Additionally, the purpose of accepting Holden's opportunistic offer was to communicate with Kyle. Kyle might soon realize that Holden might make him look good if he gives Claire the space she wants. Claire is an adult who is capable of making her own choices, such as whether or not to restart her initial relationship. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Wednesday, October 15, 2025, reveal a heartbreaking, obsessional, and perilous curiosity-infused episode with high stakes. Characters are forced to confront not only the chaos of their relationships but also the ghosts of their pasts that refuse to go away as the canvas moves from Genoa City to Los Angeles. What begins as Claire Newman's desperate attempt to escape Genoa City's emotional web transforms into a haunting journey filled with unexpected surprises, emotional clashes, and revelations that alter one's life forever. Sharon and Nick Newman, on the other hand, are dealt a devastating blow when their son Noah is involved in an accident. The couple, whose lives have always been marked by love, loss, and perseverance, must once more face the nightmare of a parent. The emotional turmoil that follows Claire's escape Los Angeles was supposed to be a new beginning for Claire Newman, a place where she could breathe, regain her independence, and temporarily forget the problems that plagued her Genoa City existence. Claire had every reason to flee, what with her troubled relationship with Kyle Abbott and the scars from her dark past with Jordan Howard still fresh. She was offered an emotional and geographical escape route by Holden Novak, who impressed her with his easy charm and laid-back attitude. Holden seemed like the ideal antidote to Kyle's ferocity because he was once known in his own circles for his complicated relationship with Audra Charles. Claire could laugh once more, walk down La's sun-drenched streets, and forget, if only briefly, Genoa City's shadows with him. But when you try to run away from your feelings, even paradise can become clouded. The so-called getaway that Claire has planned quickly turns into a reflection of everything she has been avoiding. She is beginning to feel uneasy by Holden's enigmatic glances and cryptic comments about his past. Yes, he is charming. However, what is he hiding? The spectre of Kyle Abbott looms larger than ever as Claire begins to unwind in Holden's company. Unwelcome surprise for Kyle Abbott is spiraling back to Genoa City. He hears the advice of Jack Abbott, played by Peter Bergman, and Diane Jenkins Abbott, played by Susan Walters, but he doesn't seem to listen. Jack, a man who has endured more heartbreaks and lessons learned through hard work than most, attempted to teach his son patience and perspective. He was warned by Diane, whose motherly protectiveness was heightened by her own troubled past, that chasing someone who clearly needed space could destroy their little remaining trust. But Kyle's heart won't listen. He is persuaded that Claire's trip to Los Angeles is not just a vacation, rather, it is a test. He also believes that failing that test will result in her permanent loss. He impulsively boards a private flight to California with a bouquet of flowers he claims to have picked at Chancellor Park because of his misguided determination. It matters not whether he bought them from a vendor or freed them from Catherine Chancellor's beloved gardens. It is only symbolic. Kyle's action exemplifies his desperate refusal to accept the possibility that he will not be a part of Claire's getaway. Sadly, what Kyle perceives as a grand romantic gesture may in fact reinforce his image as the man who cannot let go. Nate's attentive ear and Victoria's concern. Victoria Newman, on the other hand, is attempting to strike a balance between maternal instincts and reason in Genoa City. Her relationship with her daughter is still in its infancy, which means that it is still very young, very fragile, and full of emotional minefields. Victoria wants to give Claire some space, but the voice inside her that warns of danger won't go away. Nate Hastings comes in, a newly single man who is composed, grounded, and just what Victoria needs. Their conversation is both energizing and filled with the quiet intimacy that frequently comes before more. Victoria laments Claire's impulsiveness, Kyle's persistence, and Holden's shady reputation as Nate patiently listens. She is reminded by Nate that mistakes are necessary for growth sometimes. His insight is sweet and comforting at the same time. Victoria can't shake the feeling that something isn't right, so she decides right away when she finds out Kyle is going to Los Angeles. She will also go. Victoria will be there to protect her daughter from becoming entangled in someone else's obsession or in her own emotional quagmire if Kyle decides to pursue Claire. California chaos. A confluence of happenstances. Los Angeles becomes the setting for a number of intertwined stories. When Kyle shows up at her hotel by accident, Claire's fragile peace is disturbed. Claire's expression shifts from unconcerned to tense as soon as he appears, her breath caught between disbelief and irritation. Holden immediately raises an eyebrow as he detects the shift. A confrontation marred by hurt pride and unspoken emotion is sparked by Kyle's arrival. Claire doesn't see romance, She sees control, the kind she spent her entire life fighting against. He tries to justify his intrusion with declarations of love, insisting that he came because he needed to make things happen. Victoria overhears their argument and shows up a few minutes later, forming an awkward and emotionally charged triangle that reveals the underlying cracks in each relationship. Holden, on the other hand, keeps a calm head as he watches. He sees Kyle's insecurity and emotional turbulence as evidence that Claire needs someone like him. Holden, on the other hand, hides something darker that he is reluctant to reveal beneath his cool exterior. Meanwhile, the Newman family experiences a crisis. The Newman family is dealt a far more devastating blow as the LA drama unfolds. Sharon Newman gets a phone call back in Genoa City that completely turns her world upside down. Noah Newman has been in a serious car accident. As she tells Nick, her voice shakes, and before she can finish, Nick is already moving, calling for his plane, asking for clarification, and refusing to believe what he is hearing. The heavy silence that separates them holds years of shared love, loss, and the haunting echoes of past tragedies. This silence reflects the urgency in their movements. They are informed Noah is in critical condition when they arrive at the Los Angeles hospital. His injuries are severe, and the crash's circumstances are hazy. Inconsistencies are mentioned by police investigators, such as skid marks that do not correspond to a straightforward loss of control, a piece of evidence that is missing, and a witness who saw another vehicle speed away from the scene. Grief quickly turns to suspicion for Sharon and Nick. Before the crash, with whom was Noah? Was it related to the aftermath of the Newman media expose? Or perhaps to someone else in Los Angeles? Perhaps even a connection to Holden or Claire that nobody anticipated. As the mystery grows, the accident that Noah has becomes the linchpin that binds the various Los Angeles plots together. When Sharon and Nick realize that everyone is in the same city and may be connected in ways none of them expected, they find themselves caught in the drama of Claire, Victoria, and Kyle, who are all determined to stay by their son's side. There is a glimmer of something odd when Sharon finally speaks with Claire, possibly guilt, recognition, or even fear. During one of her LA walks with Holden, Claire recalls meeting Noah for the first time, unannounced and for a brief period of time. Could that encounter be related to what transpired? Holden is evasive when questioned. He makes the claim that he only barely knew Noah, but his body language shows it. Sharon and Nick discover more and more evidence that Noah's crash may not have been an accident. Spiral downward for Kyle. Kyle's despair grows even stronger as all of this plays out. He becomes enraged with jealousy when he sees Claire interacting with Holden. His irrational actions and obsession threaten to unravel everything, and he loses his ability to reason. Jack calls him at one point, pleading with him to return home and refocus. Jack warns, "You're chasing ghosts, son. Love can't be put in a place it doesn't want to be." However, Kyle can't control himself. Although he may be correct in his belief that Holden is manipulating Claire, his careless attempts to save her only serve to further alienate her. Kyle confronts Holden in a heated scene at a beachfront bar. Before Claire gets involved and demands that Kyle leave her alone, their heated argument almost turns physical. She breaks down in tears and says, "You are not my protector. You are my constant reminder of everything I'm trying to overcome." Kyle was hit hard by those words. He starts to realize for the first time that his so-called love might just be control disguised as care. However, he realizes it too late. Holden smiles knowing he has won, but his victory is short-lived. Emerge the secrets of Holden. The polished exterior of Holden begins to crack over the course of the week. An erroneous business deal involving a Newman media associate is the subject of whispers. Sharon overhears hospital staff discussing the police questioning of a Holden Novak. A picture of manipulation and deception emerges as the pieces begin to fit together. Holden was more than just Audra Charles' casual acquaintance. He was her unspoken partner in a number of dubious endeavors, including a marketing con that nearly cost a Newman subsidiary its existence years ago. His sudden return to Claire's life was planned, not by accident. Someone wanted to be close to Claire and the Newman family through her. Victoria feels a surge of protective instincts as soon as she learns this. She engages Holden in a ferocious duel that rivals any classic Y&R duel. She snarls, You don't get to use my daughter to get back into Newman's world. Holden, cornered, deflects with charm, but Victoria's gaze dulls his grin. The retrospective of Sharon and Nick's emotions. Sharon and Nick, whose emotional barriers have been torn down, remain at Noah's bedside. The loss of their daughter Cassie, the years of heartbreak, and the fact that tragedy never ceases to reopen old wounds. Sharon holds on to hope, and her faith and strength end up being the storyline's emotional anchor. Nick, who is always there to protect, turns his pain into determination. He says he will find out who is to blame, and if there is even the slightest possibility that Noah's crash wasn't an accident, he will do anything to show the truth. Fans have long desired a rekindling of the chic bond, and Sharon and Nick's renewed unity sets the stage for it. They are at their strongest together, despite everything: other marriages, lost years, and personal failures, their shared grief, compassion, and history. The crucial moment for Claire as Lars' web of deceit unravels. Claire faces a devastating realization. Holden Novak, the man she thought represented freedom, has been playing her. His interest was opportunistic rather than romantic. When she confronts him, the confrontation is explosive. Holden admits that someone from Newman Media approached him, possibly in connection with the Kane-Ashby defamation scandal. His task? Gather information about the Newmans' private dealings by getting close to Claire. Shattered and humiliated, Claire turns to Victoria, not as an adversary, but as a daughter needing comfort. In their fragile relationship, their embrace marks a turning point. It's a time of redemption for Victoria, and for Claire, it's the first step toward healing. However, the consequences do not end there. Kyle must confront his own behavior as he watches Claire's pain. She was close to falling for a con artist because of his obsession. Although the guilt is crushing, it may also be the impetus for his long-awaited development. The parallel mysteries. 2 accidents and a common cause in a shocking twist. Police uncover surveillance footage suggesting that Holden's car was in the vicinity of Noah's crash the night it happened. It becomes obvious that Holden, Claire, and the Newman accident are connected. Is Holden to blame for Noah's wounds? Or was there a third party in charge? Victor Newman joins the fray as Nick and Sharon look for answers. The patriarch intervening to safeguard his family and determined to discover the truth energizes the narrative. The stakes soar when Victor believes Noah was used as leverage against Newman Enterprises. Jack and Diane's perspective is harrowing. Jack and Diane stand back in Genoa City and watch as their son's mistake spread. They think about their own turbulent love story, their fake deaths, betrayals, and hard-earned reunions, and how often the past repeats itself in the next generation. When Jack tells Diane, maybe Kyle has to lose everything before he learns what love really means, his quiet wisdom shines through. Despite being defensive toward her son, Diane cannot argue. She is all too familiar with the agony of obsession. This subplot provides emotional grounding by reminding the audience that The Young and the Restless is timeless because of family patterns like the Abbotts and the Newmans and the endless cycles of passion and regret. Noah wakes up and reveals a shocking truth. Noah regains consciousness in the episode's concluding scene. He whispers a chilling sentence to his parents, weak but coherent: "It wasn't a mistake." The information shocks everyone in the hospital room. Nick's jaw tightens, Sharon freezes, and Noah's haunted expression is captured as the camera zooms in. What is he recalling? Who was there with him that evening? The plot explodes when he recalls a familiar name: Holden Novak. It is now unquestionable that Holden was involved in the crash, and the repercussions promise to affect every major character in Genoa City and Los Angeles. Predicting the future, this storyline has far-reaching effects that extend well beyond October 15th. Fans can anticipate emotional reckonings, shocking arrests, and the possibility of certain characters' redemption as November sweeps approaches. In order to avoid becoming another pawn in the Newman-Abbott rivalry, Claire must rebuild her trust and navigate life after betrayal. For his stalking behavior, Kyle may face legal and emotional consequences, necessitating self-awareness and possibly a path to redemption. Crisis will bring Sharon and Nick back together, possibly rekindling their love as they look for Noah's justice. Fans will once again debate whether Victoria and Nate's relationship is genuine or just another case of misplaced trust as their bond grows stronger. Holden Novak has the potential to become one of the show's most likable, manipulative, and unpredictable villains, depending on how far the writers take his arc. The Piece That Remains After the Storm. A classic Young and the Restless episode, Claire's Getaway Disturbance, Sharon and Nick's Unsettling News combines romance, mystery, and emotional upheaval perfectly. It serves as a reminder to viewers why they continue to tune in year after year, for the epic plots that give ordinary human emotions like jealousy, love, guilt, and hope a lifelike dimension. While the palm trees in Los Angeles may sway in the California sun, for the Abbotts and the Newmans, storm clouds are forming. Holden Novak's charming mask has begun to fall apart, Sharon and Nick's world is collapsing under the weight of fear and uncertainty, and Claire's emotional escape has turned into a powder keg. No one will emerge unscathed when the dust settles. However, in typical Y&R fashion, each heartbreak serves as a catalyst for rebirth, and each ending is only the beginning of a subsequent scandal.